What on my hat?
Oh shit. Jeff,
What's up?
I'm wearing a shirt from a movie
Have you seen the movie?
a long time ago.
What movie?
Mars Attacks.
It's a good
Oh
movie.
my, that was a long time ago.
Look, Nine Line came out with a new.
Oh, that's
Mars.
cool.
That's
Isn't that
very
cool?
cool. That's awesome.
And then I got a little sticker right there for it too. How cool is that?
Is that your football, bro? You got a nuclear control panel in that thing? What is that?
No, actually, I won that from work. Yeah,
Cool.
at the company picnic this year. They were like all kinds of cool power tools and stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, power tools! I need those." And then I saw that case, and I was like, well,
Yeah, I grabbed your
I'm
water.
gonna put all my raffle tickets in that, I guess." I said I could use that for the show. Up, Skeeter's in. What's up, Skeeter?
Are you guys live?
Yeah, it's live. Let me
Damn,
pull
I'm
it up.
usually the first one to comment, and I'm not even in it.
And Kenzar.
Oh, kids here today, huh?
Hey.
Jason, if you go over to the chat bubble on the right side of the screen and you go to
Oh
the
no. Okay, there we go. Just click
go
on
to
it.
go to the chat and then hit live stream chat, I think it's called. You can see everyone's
Oh, there we go.
chat. And it'll tell you where it's coming from. So most everybody watches off of our Twitch stream. Although we get some YouTubers in there too every once in a while. I don't know if you type back, I don't think it's going to show up on Twitch.
It doesn't. No, only if the
Doesn't?
host. Nah, if the host does, it'll show up. But if you do, you only we will see it. So
Okay.
If you
if you want to
do
reply
this,
to a comment, you just have to do it like verbally.
I can do that.
Can
Bam.
highlight it.
Yep.
Boom! Look at that.
There you go. Yeah, so if you see something that you want to answer, Jason, just speak it, man.
Okay.
Just talk to him. Just be like, "Hey, answering the question from so and so."
Perfect. I can do that. It's been a while since I've done something like this live stream. So
Oh,
It's
you're
kinda
good,
cool.
man. You're good. We'll get a good handful of people in here tonight.
I'm just sharing the stream. On all my
Skeeter said he
things
missed
here.
you too. Oh, Skeeter.
Hey, Skeeter.
I think he's talking to Kenzar though. You talking to Kenzar, Skeeter? Are you talking to me?
He's not talking to you.
I know he's not. Gotta be entertaining. Gotta make people think like, what is this guy talking about? Nobody cares about him.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't blame you, Kenzar. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, right. This stuff. I only do like promotional stuff really on it now. Like it's just I don't spend more time on it than I need to. Rather hang out in the woods looking for monsters and ghosts and stuff.
Doing the real stuff, man.
The real stuff, yeah.
I can't wait to talk about it. Gonna dive right in.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just gotta give just a few more minutes. Let everybody collect. Let everyone who gets the notification, you know.
Hey, Skeeter, the common king. Oh my god. Hey, Skeeter. I'll just say that.
Skeeter's our sound guy.
Oh, okay, cool.
He he lives near me here in Wisconsin, and he came through for us really big during Elmwood UFO Days last year. And
Oh,
then
nice.
He actually hosted all the live presentations and stuff this year for the festival.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then Kenzar came down from
Oh, really? From Victoria?
From your neck
Yeah.
of the woods. I don't know where. Kid,
I
I'm not
thought
gonna
she was on the
lie.
island
I
somewhere.
forget.
I could be wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things in my life, so I could be wrong about that.
It's good to have her back, though. Everybody clap for Kid. There we go. Jeff, you're lame.
What, man? That's like the hipster thing to do now. You like
Is
clap.
that now? It's like jazz finger, or jazz finger,
Yeah,
something like that.
You got a
You
poetry
know.
slam.
Look, man, people have like, what was that? Never mind. Let me not get into it. I'm gonna go on a rant.
Oh, all right. You ready to kick this off?
Sure.
I'm ready. Jeff, you good? All right. Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Jeremy, and tonight we got a special guest. This time, our guest is here. Jason doesn't blow us off. That's right.
I don't.
No.
Okay.
We fun fact, we had the same guy blow us off 4 times in a row.
Oh wow, no, yeah, no. I felt bad for having just to push it back a week. Like, if you're gonna be somewhere, show up. Like,
fool me once, and then fool me 4 times.
That sucks when people do
Shame
that.
Shame on me for sure. But yep, secret's out. We have Jason Hewlett in the house today, old boss man from the Paranormal Network.
Yeah, which we were just talking before going live. Like those days ended already almost 3 years ago.
That's crazy.
It's unfathomable. Like, it just seems nuts.
Jeff
Yeah,
has 3 years more worth of gray in his beard.
it's depressing, actually.
We all do, man. Like, I know I got way more than I did then.
I got 2 strands popping up right here.
Yeah,
My
rub it
wife
in.
lets me know. Yeah, you're welcome. So Jeffrey, you got anything before we get going, bud?
No, I don't like this layout. Change it.
You don't like it?
No, I don't like it.
You want
Change
the other
is
one?
hard. Change is hard. Yeah, go back.
It is
Go back to
kind
Mike.
of-
There we go. Yeah, see.
There.
Yeah, that's
Also,
much
Now
I
better.
was gonna say it made it so skinny that it was cutting off half of Jason's
Yeah, it was cutting off
face.
Jason's face.
Oh,
So that's
can't
widescreen.
have that.
Glorious widescreen.
This is much
Yeah.
better. Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, you let AI do the work, and this is what you get.
Exactly. Don't just rely on the AI.
All right. Well, Jason, welcome back, man. It hasn't been too long. It's been what, a year now?
A year and a bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Talking.
About a year.
talk-
What did we talk about the last time?
We talked about Ogopogo, but we also talked about near-death experiences.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So yeah, it was probably about a year ago.
Yeah, because I want to say it was just before Ogopogo came out.
Yeah, which that came out in, depending on when you saw it or read the book. Like it came out at like Monster Fest in late June, July 1st of last year.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And I
really
keep getting
busy.
busier somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah, it's like every time I see a post from you, it's like a new thing that you're doing. I'm like, geez, man, save some of this for everybody else.
Well, I look at it when people want to work with you, you might as well work with them because one day no one's going to want to have anything to do with you. So I might as well enjoy it while it lasts and just sort of take it all in. And
That's not
Even
true,
more.
man. You'll always have a place here for it.
well, thank you so
Always.
much, boys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so let's do a quick recap of all the cool stuff that you've gotten into. You're doing a radio show now. Tell us about
Yep.
that.
Yeah, it's called. Well, remember you and I chatted like earlier this year. I was doing a podcast called Paranormal Theories, and it actually I had to put it on hold because of kind of what we're going to be talking about a bit tonight. And then, like on my birthday in July, this guy who was the Canadian content creator for Sandcastle Radio out of Florida approached me saying they wanted to do a paranormal show, and they'd looked at a whole bunch of people, and they really wanted me to do it. And so I did what I usually do is I said yes without thinking about it.
Hell
Too
yeah.
much. Right. And so I've been doing that. And so now it's called Paranormal Theories. And it's just going to continue what I was trying to do on the podcast, like interviewing people within the field and stuff like that. And then, it's an hour-long live show every Tuesday night at 5 Pacific on Sandcastle Radio. And you can listen on sandcastleradio.org or download their free app. But it's all over the world. It's really cool.
That's awesome, man. You got some big names on there. I seen Seth Breedlove.
Yep.
That's
He
freaking
was
cool.
on. Ryan Sprague was on. Jesse Doyle from Hellbent Holler has been
Hell
on so
yes.
far, and I'm lined up a bunch of people coming up as well, and I'm working on a few others. So it's been really cool.
I'd love to pick Jesse's brain.
Yeah, she's super interesting. Like super interesting to talk to. Lots of high energy. Really cool. And I brought her on like when they put out their, the Monster on Morris Mountain documentary that STM put out back in August. So yeah, tied into that. So yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. It's as you know, putting on a weekly show can be a fair amount of work. But I have a great time doing it, and it's just
a little bit.
But I enjoy it, and I enjoy talking to people about this stuff as you guys do, right? So it's been really cool to kind of just do that, not have to worry about turning it into a documentary or writing a book about it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Speaking of getting out there, right? So, Wendigo, you've been getting dirty.
The Wendigo. You can start.
If
you want to ask a question or something.
you've been getting out in the woods, man. I've seen a bunch of pictures, a bunch of video clips of you out there.
Yes.
Tell us about this, man.
All right. So back after writing Legend of Ogopogo, and Cursed Waters was coming out, I just kind of found I had not much to do. So I just started researching different stuff, and the Cadborosaurus and the Wendigo were kind of at the top of my list. And I've been interested in the Wendigo story since I was a kid, because there was an incredible Hulk comic from back in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, where the Incredible Hulk fought a Wendigo.
Really?
And in the comic, it was depicted as like basically like a white Bigfoot. And it was talking about, in the Canadian North, the Hulk fights the, weird way out Wendigo. And I always thought the Wendigo was like a comic book character, basically. But I soon discovered as I got older that it wasn't. And it's actually a very real cryptid. It's a Canadian folk story and Indigenous roots. So I've always been interested in it. So I decided that I was going to do research and put together a book on the Wendigo. And I was talking with Eli Watson, who I made Cursed Waters with. And he's like, "What are you writing about next?" And I'm like, "The Wendigo." And he's like, "Dude, you should talk to Heather Moser with Small Town Monster." There it is. Yeah. You can see it. There's two covers, but there's one right
here,
there. And then also if you go over towards the other side in the middle, well, it doesn't embiggen very much, but yeah, it's fighting a Wendigo. It looks like a white Sasquatch. Yeah, you can see it there.
That's wild, man.
I'm sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's supposed to look like.
Right. Well, okay, so when we're on the topic of its physical description.
Yeah.
Right. There is, if you've ever stepped foot in a cryptid Facebook group or anything, the Wise, right?
Yeah.
There's this infamous argument over what a Wendigo is supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Chad Lewis had come out with a book a while ago.
Yep.
And
Wendigo lore.
Yep. That's a good book.
Yeah.
He kind of cleared that up a bit. And so going off of the cover of your book, you went with the stag head.
Yeah, that's because that was kind of it was a good decision in terms of marketing, because that's the one most people are familiar with nowadays.
Yeah.
Right? Is the stag headed thing. But the Wendigo initially didn't even have a physical form. It was basically something that took you over. Like you went Wendigo. And then you were compelled. You started seeing your loved ones as like game meat, and you started eating them, and that was just sort of what happened. And you kind of you were possessed by this spirit. Then the book came out called The Wendigo, and suddenly, like, I'm gapping out. Algernon Blackwood wrote a novella called The Wendigo, and that was the first time it was depicted as any kind of flesh and blood creature. And initially, there were no horns. It was more like what people describe a rake. Do you have that? You have that?
I did not down here. I have it.
Ahead of me, sir.
I have it upstairs. Yeah, I sure do.
That's awesome.
But
that's awesome.
It's for those that are looking for like legitimate I don't know, like an entertainment book on the Wendigo. It's not what you think it is.
No,
it's a bit different.
Yeah, it's a very different kind of book. But it put it into sort of physical form for the first time. So now, especially because Supernatural did an episode about the Wendigo back in like its first season, everyone sees it as this flesh and blood thing. So there's a bit of debate. That's sort of the book cover, which comes out tomorrow, by the way. From Small Town
Actually,
Monsters
if you're listening to this not live, it's
Yes.
coming out today.
That's right. Yes.
Because
but
I'm
we went with
staying
that
up
as
and
more
getting this
sort of a good
episode out for you.
marketing strategy, right? Because that's the version a lot of people are familiar with nowadays.
Yep.
And when they read the book, I explain. Like Chad Lewis is one of the many people I interviewed for the book, and we got into that quite a bit. Same with Ronald Murphy, who's an author, researcher, and folklorist. So we touch on a lot of those different aspects of it.
Good. That's good, man. Did you ever find out where the stag head came from?
It's just something that developed over time. I think that's the same time that I know Sam Sheeran actually was talking about it, because I interviewed him in it as well, because that sort of became the pop culture version of it. But it's like, if you look at depictions, it gives it kind of more of that demonic devil-like appearance. You know what I mean? And it kind of fits into something a little more sinister. And I think that just kind of became, and there are some indigenous folk stories where it did have a horn on its head. The Wendigo is kind of, there's lots of different versions of the story, depending on which tribe. It's primarily an Algonquin Cree legend, but there's other parts where they call it like the Wittigo, and different, it's spelled a bit different. So I think it's, what you're seeing today is like an amalgamation of a lot of different stories that have brought it together into something that I think people are just trying to find easily digestible in terms of it being a story now. And I mean, people are saying they're seeing Wendigos in the woods, right? And it's, which I find really fascinating too, that now that something that was strictly at first almost like a psychological mental health thing has become a cryptid, of a variation on a cryptid. Even it's got more supernatural properties than like the average cryptid, although now that we could go on a whole topic about just that alone, supernatural paranormal cryptids. But for the Wendigo's sake, it's become something a lot more tangible in the public's eye.
Jeff, you got anything, bud? He's a fish out of water on this.
I don't know shit about this, to be honest. So I'm just here for the ride, you know. I'm keeping the chat entertained right now. I'm arguing with somebody because he wanted to go fishing in 20-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm not doing it. Different topic.
He's having a whole like conversation in the chat right now. It's awesome. He's a great guy. Let's see. I lost track. So you said that you were halfway in with Caddy and the Wendigo.
Yes.
Caddy's interesting.
Caddy's super interesting. I was hesitant to do another aquatic creature book after writing about Ogopogo, though. You know what I mean? I wanted to do something a bit different. And
but
what had happened when I mentioned that, pardon me?
It's different enough.
I think so. And it's on my to-do list, obviously, especially being in British Columbia. It wouldn't be hard to kind of go down and write something on it. But when I kind of mentioned the Wendigo to Eli, he's like, I should talk to Heather at STM, because they were going to do like a Wendigo film the next year. So this year kind of thing. And I'm like, okay. And everything just kind of went from there. They were interested in the book. So we went ahead and signed on for the book. And then eventually they were going to do the movie. Eli was going to do it. And then I think at one point Seth was going to do it. And then they knew they wanted the book out in time for Halloween. And I'm up in Canada. So they said, ask me if I wanted to do it. So I said, sure, I'll do that too.
That's good, man. It's awesome how that just fell into place for you. I like that. Good story.
Yeah, it worked out.
So, you're doing a lot of work with Small Town Monsters now.
Yes.
I see that. Are you like officially part of the crew now? Like,
well, no,
on here, man. Give us the
deets. I work on contract for them, creating like shows that are basically based on Canadian content for them. And so that's where like the Wendigo project has come in, and I'm working on something else that I can talk a bit more about. It give me about another month or so, and I could talk about that. And then there's some other stuff coming down the pike. So the focus right now is definitely very much on Wendigo. They were really happy with Ogopogo, like the book and Cursed Waters, and then having hung out with them, at Monster Fest last year and stuff like that, you build up a good rapport. And I mean, you if you work hard and put out something good, like, and get along with people, it's amazing what can happen.
That's awesome, man, because they got like an all-star crew there, and it's I couldn't be more happy for you.
No,
That's
I
an
appreciate
awesome
that.
group to get in with.
Yeah, I'm feeling very blessed, like super, super lucky to be doing this, and to be working with them. And they are all amazing people. And they all approach it the same way I like to approach it, which you take this seriously. Like you do the work, you research the stories and the legends, and you don't like over dramatize it or anything or sensationalize anything. You just put the stories out there and let people decide for themselves what they think all this stuff is. And that's always been the way I've liked to approach things.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't Linda Godfrey a part of that at one point too, before she passed, I believe?
I'm not sure.
I think she was. I know Seth Breedlove, Shannon LeGros, I think Ken Gerhard's in there too.
Yeah, he does stuff with them from time to time, and Lyle Blackburn has.
Lyle?
Yeah.
The guy I'll be working with in 2 days.
Yeah,
That I'm super fucking nervous about.
Yeah, and Lyle's great too. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him, and he was really nice to talk to.
Really cool. That makes it a little bit better.
Yeah,
I'm slightly nervous. And then I know there's a lot of smaller pieces of it too. But I mean, just that cast alone, man, that's a hell of a cast. You're up there in the pantheon now, Jason.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been an honor. It's also pretty intimidating at times, or it can be. But the more I do with them, the better I feel about what I'm doing. And working on this book and the doc was like really a great experience with them. So
the Moore has a question. He said, "So when researching lore, do you dig up old books? What kind of
as often as I can. Books, papers. Nathan Carlson wrote a great piece about the Wendigo and how it ties into his indigenous lore, and that was an invaluable tool. And for other projects I've got coming up, I'm digging into whatever book I can find on it. I don't just sit on the internet and chat GPT for information or anything like that. I was a newspaper reporter for 10 years, so I like to old school approaches to researching as much as I can.
Good.
To get the right kind of information and find the right people to talk to, right?
Yeah,
that's the other half of the battle, is finding people to talk to. In the case of Wendigo, because it is an indigenous story, I was really lucky to be connected through Morgan Knudsen with Alicia Pearl Werner, who's a Cree in northern Alberta, to get her aspect on the Wendigo. And there's an encounter story in the book that involved Alicia and Morgan that we actually got to follow up on and investigate, which was really cool.
That's cool, man. Knudsen too, huh? Look at you, man. Jeez. Come on, boss man. Share the love. Look at Jeff over there. He's shocked. He doesn't know any of these people.
I know Blackburn. That's the only name that I've recognized.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't know how. Is that a show or something?
He's been on quite a few TV shows. Yeah.
There you go. That's what it is.
No, it's not. It's because I said something about him last week.
It might be that too.
When I found out I was working with him on Tuesday.
Well, no, I mean, I've seen like all the shows, right? You slap on some Discovery Channel or History Channel, like I've seen it, right? But outside of that,
Lyle Blackburn is famously known as the guy with the leather cowboy hat.
Yes, he almost like popularized that, didn't he?
Yeah, here I'll show you guys a picture.
I thought that was all the cryptid guys, man. Isn't that like a law that the cryptid guys have to wear that hat?
Ken Gerhard has a similar hat.
Ken Gerhard does have a similar hat.
I have seen this guy before.
Yeah, Lyle, man. He's a badass. Definitely badass.
He seems like a rock band too.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. It's something I can't remember the name of it. It's something spooky.
Yeah.
Definitely falling short on the name. I'm not going to sit here and waste 10 minutes thinking about it though. Let's see, man. So where do you want to go? You seem like you have just everything on your plate right now. What's the end goal for Mr. Hewlett?
I don't know. Like, man? I'm kind of exactly where I kind of always wanted to be, if that makes sense. Like when I was a kid, I thought, and this was, I'm going to age myself here. Like most of my like youth and teen years were through the 80s, but I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool to sort of investigate, paranormal phenomenon, write books about it, and make movies about it. And then I remember I kind of set pause like earlier this year and was like, holy shit, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Like, and so I'm just excited to be doing this and to actually, be able to take it seriously, like take a serious approach to it and have the time to do it right and to work with people that are like-minded and to have people like read the books and watch the films. And the with tracking the Wendigo, which comes out at the end of the month, that's the first time I think it's the first feature-length documentary I've made. So it's the first time it's something like that I've made is going to actually hit public eye. And I'm kind of really curious how people will react to that kind of thing and just see what happens.
So Cursed Waters didn't have
it was, but Eli directed that, right? Like Eli wrote and directed it, and I was kind of the primary researcher and a part of that. So that was great, and it went over really well. People really, really liked it, and we screened it at the Town Theatre here in British Columbia in Vernon last October. It had the kind of the Canadian premiere, and people loved it, which was great. But this is one where it's like it's kind of like a all on me kind of thing in terms as the writer, the director, and the one who did, put everything together and did all the traveling around and all that. So I'm really curious just to see how people will react, if they'll like it. I think the Wendigo story is so fascinating, and it's popular enough, right? And well-known, like movies like Antlers have been made with the Wendigo, and like video games like Until Dawn. So I think there's people out there who are really interested in it. So hopefully it'll just react well with all those people who are curious about the Wendigo and just see what happens.
I want to say, okay, so I don't play a lot of video games, and I don't watch a lot of movies. I know they just came out with the movie for Until Dawn. I haven't seen it yet, but I played the game, 5 years ago, probably.
Yeah, it came out like 10 years ago.
And I want to say that they did it pretty good too, didn't they? They actually
they
made
actually have the Wendigo without the horns. Like they have that version of it. Yeah.
And just bringing me back to all the research that I did, because I did a 2-part series back when we had Kenzar on as a guest for this show before she was even a host.
Okay.
She had reached out to us and was just like, hey, you guys are kind of cool. What's up? Thanks for making a semi decent podcast. And I was like, fuck, dude, this is like, I'm counting this as fan mail. So no, I'm just kidding. She was actually super, super cool, man. Honestly, without that email, I don't know, man, we probably never would have gotten the springboard that we needed to still be here 5 years ago or 5 years after. So, I owe a lot to Kid. She's phenomenal. And, I asked her what she wanted to come on and do. She's like, well, I want to do something, Canadian and cryptid. So I just threw a bunch of Canadian cryptids at her and I said, choose one of these. And she's like, Wendigo. I'm like, sure, let's do it. So I dove right in, man. And I found out some crazy shit, like boiling bear tallow and shoving it down people's throats to help fight off the cold heart. Oh,
yeah, to melt, because the heart, that's why the book's called Heart of Ice, because if you're taken by the Wendigo, your heart literally turns to ice. You have to either melt it with hot tallow or shatter it, like cut the body open, rip it apart, shatter the heart, burn the remains, and bury all the different pieces.
Yeah, like you have to decapitate it and literally move it to different parts, like as far as you can from each other, so that they don't coagulate back together. Right?
Yeah,
it's like fucking crazy, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
The lore is so deep on it. It's incredible.
And no one knows where it starts. Like Swift Runner's like where the story really became known in the public consciousness, because he's the guy that murdered and ate his family in the Tuatana Valley. And then he was like the first guy hung in Western Canada at Fort Saskatchewan. And he claimed he was taken over by a Wendigo. So it became a court case. You know what I mean? And that's where Wendigo first got heard in modern Western society. Well, modern, like, we're going way back late 1800s, but Western society.
Do you go over that in the book?
Yep. Covered all in the book. Yeah. And we talk about Jack Fiddler, the Jack Fiddler story. He's the guy who was a Wendigo killer. Him and his brother, and he was arrested by the Northwest Mounted Police for murder, basically, even though he thought he was doing right. You know what I mean? Like,
he was out there vigilante in it.
Yeah, well, he'd be asked to do it by members of his tribe, because they would believe that, enemy tribes would like curse them with the Wendigo, or if a family member was possessed by the Wendigo, you had to kill them. Otherwise, it would just kill everyone. in your tribe, right? And that too became a court case and got known. So this isn't like just like some ghost story. It's actually known and cataloged in Canadian criminal law, which makes it a true crime story too.
Yeah. The Fiddler one's new to me. I can't wait to get your book and read up on that. That's pretty cool. But the Swift Runner, man, that anybody grab Jason's book, read up on Swift Runner's account. That is oh man, I don't even have words for it. It's disturbing. It's extremely disturbing, and it's heart-wrenching and horrible. It's terrible, man. But just to kind of highlight the real world or real life aspect of what this lore, this legend does, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible. You know, even if there isn't, let's say, like an actual Wendigo spirit, right? There's still something that happens to humans at some point after a certain level of hunger. And that's kind of what they gave the title Wendigo to, was that breaking point. And there are just like you were saying, so many well documented stories of people crossing that line and doing some absolutely horrendous things to people they love, people, who they fathered or mothered, people who they married, their own parents. It's fucking brutal, man. I have no way else to put it.
It is. It's like a real life horror story. Like, Hollywood can't come up with something worse than the Wendigo story, right? Like it's in the actual DSM. So like the medical diagnostic book for mental health, they call it Wendigo psychosis. It's primarily amongst indigenous people of the Algonquin and Cree tribe, but that's the DSM trying to put something very complicated into simple terms for people to understand, right? Like it's crazy. It's one of those ones that really cross it, like. And if you go to Northern Alberta, which I did to research the book and to work on the film, people there very much believe in the Wendigo, and that it's still out there, and that you don't even want to say its name because that will draw it out and after you. And so it's bad. People are still having Wendigo sightings up there and experiences that they're attributing to the Wendigo because it just fits into that lore. Like even, a voice of someone in the woods at night calling you out, trying to lure you out into the woods, to get you. Like it's just these things are still happening today, and to me it's fascinating that it's so prevalent.
It's peak spooky, man.
Yeah,
it
is peak spooky. It is. And when working on the film, my colleague Olivier and I actually, because there was a Wendigo sighting reported near where I live up here in the interior of British Columbia, and that's talked about in the book. And Pete Rand, my colleague, and I go out to do a bit of investigation. But after that, my colleague Olivier and I went out for the documentary and decided to do a full-on investigation at night, in the cooler months, to see if we could foolishly lure one of these things out, kind of thing. And it was really interesting. And I had something happen doing it that I thought was one of the things that made me at least jump the most.
Kind of
thing that I'd had happen, which I don't want to talk about because I eventually want people to watch the documentary when it comes out in a few weeks. But that became a wraparound story for the documentary, and the book is kind of the middle portion of the film. But there's so much more material, like talking to Sam Sheeran about the Wendigo and pop culture, all the different ways that it is, trying to track down the origins and how it relates to other similar mythologies around the world, like with the wild hunt and where the antlers come from and all that kind of stuff. So I tried to make the book as comprehensive as I could, knowing that it was following up Chad Lewis's very good book on the subject. But interviewing Chad for it as well was like great for the book, and the film was phenomenal, and he's super enthusiastic.
Well, we could talk about Chad Lewis later. I actually live in the town he went to college in.
Do you?
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
he went to Stout, University of Wisconsin Stout, which is right down the road from me.
That's awesome.
Yep. I showed up at there's a little bookstore, Dragon Tales Books, right here on Main Street, and they got signed books by him and everything. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. That's very cool. That's like
Yeah.
he's a great. I never got to meet him in person, but boy, it would be really great to sit down and actually talk to him.
I'd love to talk to him too.
It'd be awesome.
All right. So speaking of sightings,
Okay.
as a researcher, let's put you in a scenario based setting, right?
Okay.
Someone approaches you with let's say, or a group of people approach you with sightings, personally emailed to you, right? How are you filtering these out from cases that you're going to use and you're going to actually look into, from cases that you're pretty certain are either false, misidentification, whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I ask this because there's typically with a lot of cryptid creatures, right, or paranormal lore, there's usually a fine line somewhere where people can cut off and say, okay, for example, Momo, right, the Missouri Monster. I think it was in the 70s. There was a researcher from the International UFO Network or something. Not MUFON. It was something completely different. It was out of Oklahoma, who showed up at this guy's property, the main property, camped out looking for Momo, and he was there to see if there was any possible connection between Momo and UFOs, because there was also a large flat that happened around the same time in the area. He was interviewed for a local newspaper, and in that local newspaper, he described Momo as having a gigantic head, which is something that we all know it as having. But then he also slipped in the description of bright, glowing orange eyes. That right there highlights a point in anything reported past that point with any orange glowing eyes, to me at least, as false. Because that was the very first time anybody ever introduced the creature or described the creature as having orange glowing eyes. Every single report prior to that time always described how difficult it was to see any facial features because the long, shaggy hair covered its face. But a strange phenomenon. This is something that just happens with human beings. It's in our nature, right?
Yeah.
You hear something, bright orange glowing eyes, and now all of a sudden 70% of the reports that you're getting have these orange eyes. Did you find something like that when you're looking at a topic like the Wendigo?
Yeah, you want to, like, I know with the sighting that was near where I live, I interviewed the people and sat down and talked to them. And the way that the woman described what was going on, like it was, the typical, it was a sighting on the side of the road. It was wintertime. It was like a tall moose-like looking creature with a cloak, which was a bit odd, the cloak part, but it had like the right kind of antlers coming out of its head. But what was interesting is what was kind of going on at the time. Like her brother had been dealing with addiction issues and had just recently passed away. And that ties into sort of, the Wendigo is a consumptive spirit, right? So there's someone who's very weakened in a bad position dealing with this. So that kind of lent it some credibility. They'd also experienced other paranormal phenomenon in the house that they were living in, which was near where the sighting had taken place. So there was enough there, the physical description, the winter, the consumption, the drug aspect and death, that to me, it bore some credibility to follow up on. And so that's kind of like the first place to start with any of this stuff is you have to interview the people, and it helps to know something about this, what they're talking about. Like you were saying with Momo, right? Like it's that sort of, all I'd ever heard about Momo too was like yourself. The hair was so much that you could never see a facial feature. So if someone's suddenly seeing a facial feature, it feels like a bit off to me. Like maybe that is what they saw, but it doesn't fit in with what else people are talking about. It'd still be worth kind of following up on. But you would want to think maybe they're misinterpreting something else, or they just saw something that freaked them out and everybody talks about, evil things with glowing eyes, and they're just sort of fitting that into the narrative, right? Like, it's such a tough field to work in because everything can get pretty muddied pretty fast. And you're right, humans as a society will sort of take one idea and roll with it and roll it into something else that maybe wasn't what they saw at all. We're really good at misinterpreting things. Like, there's a lot of stump squatches out there.
Oh,
Right? You know what I mean? Like, it's
a lot of bright red circles, man.
and a lot of bright red circles and all sorts of and a lot of people saying that dust is orbs, and all this kind of stuff. And you just got to be really, really careful. But the best first step is to interview people thoroughly, get a feel for them. If you can interview them even in their own home environment, you'll get an idea just from looking at their home environment. I remember getting called to an investigation in a nearby community that people were saying they had this phenomenon happen, like blood dripping from the ceiling in their kitchen, and they had a sample of it on, like, a Kleenex. So my colleague and I went out there, and I mean, they had every single book on the paranormal you could think of. They had every episode of, like, Ghost Hunters on DVD. Like, these were people who were so into this stuff that after talking to them for a while, you knew they just wanted something to be going on in their house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I had this conversation with somebody just the other day. We talked about the spectrum of believers and skeptics, and how, as somebody who performs interviews, right? I've only done a few, but I'm sure you have a much bigger database than I do. I already find it difficult to talk to people who are too open-minded, just as much, if not more sometimes, than people that are too closed-minded. And when you have those extremely open-minded people, to talk to them, and if you're not feeding them the information that they want, the conversation tends to turn bad pretty quick.
It does. It really does.
So, yeah, I couldn't. That's one thing that I'm just not looking forward to in the whole investigative, like, in-person side of it. How do you deal with things like that, man?
You kind of have to just be honest with people, right? Like this house that I was telling you about, we investigated there for hours and nothing happened. Like, nothing, absolutely nothing happened. So when they come, when we do an investigation like that, we ask the homeowner to leave so that we can do our investigation, vote them around. So it's a good way to tell if something's there or not. And then when they came back, like, sorry, man, like, nothing happened. And they were telling us about all this extreme stuff going on in their home. So you would think that if all that's really going on in the home, after several hours, like 6 to 8 hours of investigating, you're going to get something.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Do you think that has something to do with, like, if the people who live there are there, maybe the whatever it is more comfortable kind of like expressing or showing itself in a way than if, like, some strangers are in the house? Does that make sense?
That can be the thing. So we try to do multiple investigations, like some with the homeowners there, some without. We like to do the first one without them there. And then if we have something happen when they're not there, like, we kind of get like, okay, there's probably a better chance, of something going on. But if not, we like to come back and do stuff with them present and do a mix of that. But these people, then when we said there was nothing there, they were just kind of put out and didn't want us to come back. So that was a sign to us that, well, okay, maybe there's really nothing going on here, or we couldn't appease what they were thinking, right? Like, it's a tough call, but I find honesty is always the best policy with all this kind of stuff. Like, you can't placate people. It's the same if, like, there's someone who's terrified of an experience that's going on in their home, and you go there and you get it quantified. You have to say something, but then and if it's something that's scaring people, then you've got to arm them with things they can do to make them feel more comfortable with this situation, or give them tips on how to, best deal with it, or try to get the spirit to leave, or etc. I mean, it's very different if someone's seeing a Sasquatch on their property, and if you go out there and, Jeremy, you've talked about your experience before, like, if you're an investigator investigating Sasquatch and you've had your experience, you want us to come out there and look into it, and we confirm that, what else are we going to do? Like, it's a total different beast. But with hauntings, generally the homeowner is the only one that can make that spirit go away. you have to empower the homeowner to deal with it.
See, you're too nice. I'd fuck with people. Nothing would happen. They'd come back and I'd go running out the front door. I'm never coming back here. Fuck this.
My buddy Pete, when he was part of Vancouver Paranormal Society, he had someone who was investigating a house where the woman was convinced there was something demonic in there, and the investigator went in, did his investigation, and said, "You have like 14 demons in your house," and just left. And then the woman killed herself.
Whoa!
She was so terrified that this person had said there was like all these demons in her house. She couldn't handle
crazy.
it.
Wow.
You have a responsibility as to people, right? Like it's. Yeah,
maybe
people. If someone's terrified of this, they're going to take it. They're going to really react.
Maybe there was. Maybe that's something that pushed her over the edge too. Not just the fear of it, but if there's fucking demons living in your house, like.
Yeah, I mean, I'd personally move, but I know that's not always so easy for people. But she was that freaked out that's just her response to it, right?
Well, now I feel like an asshole.
No, don't.
You are an
Everyone's
asshole.
natural reaction is to want to mess with it. Trust me, I've had that myself. Like, you know what I mean? But the longer you do this, you just realize like there's as an investigator, you have such a duty to the people that you basically consider your clients. Even though we don't take money for what we do, like you have a duty to them to be respectful and honest and act with integrity. And there are so many people out there who call themselves investigators or demonologists who just don't. They're just looking to make a buck. Or have an adventure or a thrill, and they're doing more harm than good. And I mean, there's so many people on TikTok that are doing that. Like, it's shameful, really.
It really is. It really is. I don't know how you do the paranormal, man. Like I love that you have this wide range of interests and that you cover a wide range of things, right? So far you've written books on the paranormal, near-death experiences, aquatic cryptids, and now native folklore creature spirit,
scary
right?
monster thing.
I mean, you're everywhere, man. It's awesome. But I give you props for diving into the world of like spirits and stuff, man. I just can't. I was scared shitless from what I saw when I was 9. I could not imagine being in a situation where something's there, you can't see it. I'd lose my mind. I would fucking lose my mind. And the person who came into my house and ran out the front door, I'd be like, "Yep, all right, cool. I'm not ever stepping foot in that house again." Fuck that.
That's how I started though, right? Like, I was always fascinated by all this stuff, but the first thing I kind of ever really investigated was sort of ghosts and spirits. That was just sort of the easiest route to take, I guess, at the time. And then working with, a paranormal group, that's what most paranormal groups deal with. And it was always had a fascination. And that's something now that we're focusing on as Canadian Paranormal Society, is because we are branching into these other areas. It's learning how to properly investigate all this other phenomenon, because you can't look for Bigfoot or UFOs the same way you kind of investigate ghosts. Like, it just doesn't work, right? So we're trying to learn from people who've done these things for a long time the right way to investigate all these different phenomena.
Speaking of, we just had a really big name in the field of Bigfoot pass away.
Yes, we did.
Now. Yeah. Actually, the only professor in a well-known university that I know that covers anthropology mixed with Bigfoot. And it's actually sad. It's really sad. His name was Dr. Jeff Meldrum. So if anybody gets a chance to look into some of his work, I'm sure that if you've ever watched a Bigfoot show or a documentary, you've seen Jeff Meldrum. It kind of got covered up because of the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Yeah.
So it didn't really get out there, but I mean, I think it happened just prior to it, like within the same day or the day before.
It was really quick.
It was
quick. Yeah, they're almost simultaneous. He's someone I obviously super familiar with his work through, especially like you say, through the TV shows and documentaries. And I was like, that's a big loss. And that's the sad thing, is a lot of these guys who are the legends in the field are getting up there in age, right? And they approach things so differently than a lot of people do now. Like, you have to respect their approach to how they investigated this phenomena.
Yeah, what were we just talking about? The physicist or the mathematician, Planck. God, what was his first name? I can't remember his first name. But he also had a concept, a famous concept, and I'm gonna melt my mind trying to think of it. So I'm not going to, again, waste too much of your time. But basically, the gist of this concept was science only moves forward one funeral at a time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's actually the reverse for a field like cryptozoology. I think that as time goes on and as we have more of these funerals, right? John Green, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, there's a ton of them, right?
Yeah, they're all getting to
mean-
that age.
I mean, Lauren Coleman's up there now too. Look at what we're replacing them with. And I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody, start fights with anybody, but we have a lot of very, very open-minded people. And they're crossing, like kind of how you alluded to, they're crossing the topics of cryptozoology with paranormal or spirituality. And I believe that there's room for both studies in cryptozoology, especially when it comes to Bigfoot. Like, I mean, one of my favorite interviews I've ever done was with Carter Bushard, right?
Oh, yeah, Carter.
He
Carter's
talks
super
about,
interesting dude. Yeah.
yeah, and he dives really deep into the mind speak Bigfoot.
Mhm.
But he does it from an educated point of view, and it's really nice. But a lot of the people that are starting to fill these shoes are, I mean, I'm trying to be nice about this. I feel like they're too open, and they're leaning very heavily on AI.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've come across this a lot in your recent times, but it seems like every time I go on to anything for research, I have to filter out more AI bullshit than I ever thought I would have to. And it's starting to bleed into books. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like it's the opposite for this particular field, because we're losing all of those guys who put in some real tough blood, sweat, and tears and time, and we're replacing them with AI, and we're replacing them with what's the easiest way to make a buck.
Mm-hmm.
And it saddens me. It really does.
Me too, because I think if this is something you're super serious about, you're going to want to put the time in.
Yeah.
To research it, the old, like to actually, like, you know, I'm a big reader, so I have no trouble picking up old books and reading them and sifting through documents and then going out to the places where people are having these experiences and interviewing those who are having these experiences and physically spending time there yourself to see what you can find, if anything. And I think that's the only way you can be a serious investigator. If you're just sitting there creating AI generated stuff or just using it to do your research and you're throwing crap up on TikTok or YouTube and that's all you're doing, there's a problem. And you're not serious about this. And I'd question the reason why you're doing it to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact Chad Lewis told a story where he was at a Paracon, you know, and there's people there who are serious investigators, paranormal investigators. And then there's people there who are TV stars, and all the people coming in were talking to the TV stars, and very few were going up and talking to the actual legitimate researchers and investigators. And that to me is sad. The people who are on TV, some of them have started off as really good investigators, but you know, a lot of them also are just hired on to be TV personalities because they've had a little bit of experience, you know what I mean? Or they have the right look for it. Again, I'm not trying to trash anybody because there's some people out there doing really great work, but the people who are doing the really hard work aren't getting recognized in the same way they would have been, like in the era of John Green and Renee Dahinden and Thomas Steenberg and all them. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a, you have to have a huge social media following and be on TV now.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to I call him a kid. You know, he was in his early 20s, and it just kind of BSing back and forward, possibly working out, you know, a cross podcasting deal where, you know, I go on his, he comes on mine kind of thing. And, you know, he claimed to be this huge cryptid nerd, man. He didn't even know who Bernard Wableman was. And I think we're just going to stop this conversation, man. I was like, if, you know, I didn't know who Bernard Wableman was, didn't know who John Green was. And I'm like, I think we're good, man. I think I don't even think I want to put you on my show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you know, I don't mean to sound cocky or stuck up when I say those names, but these are like true pioneers of the field. You know, I'm happy that you're coming up though, and I'll say that behind your back too. By the way.
Oh, really? Behind my back? Oh, that's nice.
Absolutely. No, I actually appreciate your work, man. I really do.
Thank you so much.
I look at the path that you're taking as kind of like a blueprint for something similar to that I want to do, and letting you do all the hard work, and I'll just come up behind you. So
sounds good. And you know, but you're putting in the time and the effort and all that too, Jeremy, and that's important. It's I think too many people, I think it's part of a societal thing. Not enough people want to put in the hard work to get to the end game. But the only way you're going to really get to the end game is by putting in the hard work.
Yeah. Hopefully I keep catching crap about not putting out my book, and I can't explain it, but you know, I'm so picky, especially about the first book. I don't know. What was your first book, Jason?
The first book would have been I Want to Believe: One Man's Journey into the Paranormal. That's the one I wrote with Pete Wren.
You did it. You did do that with Pete?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get the confidence to put that out, man?
Well, it happened sort of again in reverse, because I know Pete and I had just launched We Want to Believe, and we were on Shannon LeGros's Into the Fray podcast. Pete and I, she was interviewing us about the show. And Pete was sort of telling his story, some of his stories, and she sort of said to Pete, like on air, "Oh man, you should write a book, Pete, and have a book come out because you got so many fascinating stories." And I remember, afterwards, I texted her and I said, "Are you serious about Pete's book?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I totally would." And I said, "Okay," I said, "because I could totally write Pete's story, because I have 10 years as a newspaper writer. To write a book wasn't that intimidating." So I convinced Pete it was a good idea, and we basically sat down in June of 2020, and the book came out that Christmas.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But there was a pandemic and we couldn't do anything either, right? Like everything was shut down. So we had all the time in the world to write a book.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how the first book came out. But I was confident enough going in, but that's because I wrote newspaper stories for 10 years, like crime journalist for 10 years. Like thought of writing that book wasn't scary at all. And Pete told the story really well.
You should just put it out, Jeremy, honestly, man. I mean, I don't write books, but I write music, and I have that same problem where I'll be working on a song or something, and I'll hold on to it for what I feel like is forever. And then a day comes where I wake up and I'm like, fuck it. And I just put it up on the internet, and all I get is like praise for the songs. You know, like people are like, "Oh, that's sick. That's awesome. I'm glad you put this out." So it's one of those things, I think, when you're, especially in like the creative space, because you can totally block yourself. Like you just have to fucking find the day, be happy enough with it, and just fire it off.
I think you're right. If nothing creative is ever really finished, it's eventually just abandoned.
Yep.
Like it's good enough, let's do it. Then if you've got a deadline where you have to have it by a certain time because there's a publisher breathing down your neck, well, then you hit that deadline day and you make sure it's good enough and off you go.
And then you could always do a follow-up.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't want to do a follow-up, man. That's part of the whole thing. All right, we're getting into me. I don't want to. Let's stay on Jason. Jason, we got a question from Spectrum Assassin here, man. He said, "I wonder what he thinks of ultra-terrestrials like elves or gnomes."
Oh, well, I love John Keel's ultra-terrestrial concept. I'm a big believer in it. Because we have there's the little people, which have been people call them fairies and things like that, and indigenous tribes. There's tricksters, all that stuff. So I have no doubt. I think like elves and gnomes are just different names for a different phenomenon all over the world, and I'm fully convinced that all that is truly out there. I think Keel was really onto something with his whole ultra terrestrial concept.
If Spectrum, if you're looking for a good book on the whole ultra terrestrial thing, right here, Strange Creatures from get that out of the from
Time and Space.
Time and Space from John Keel.
That's a killer cover too, by the way.
Oh yeah, dude, it's absolutely awesome, and he doesn't dive into it as much. I mean, he talks about it in pretty much every book he does. Trojan Horse talked about it.
Mothman Prophecies. He talks about it.
Absolutely. The Eighth Tower, is that what it is? The Eighth
I think that's what it's called.
But the Complete Guide to Mysterious Beings is another one that he does. This is more of just like your cryptozoological book, state by state here in the United States, that John Keel did. But he does refer to the ultra terrestrial hypothesis that he presented, most famously in Strange Creatures from Time and Space.
Yeah.
So highly recommend that if you're looking into like the whole ultra terrestrial concept, gotta grab some John Keel, man.
Yeah.
It is.
He's the man.
It's pivotal.
Yeah, he started it all.
Yeah, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that build off of it too. Like even the more present phenomenon of like Skinwalker Ranch, because they're talking about like the potentially being a cosmic trickster. That all spans off of John Keel's original theory from the ultra terrestrial. So highly recommend John Keel stuff. And if you ever need a list of good books to grab from him, just let me know, and I'll get them out to you. Jason, I'm kicking myself right now because I was supposed to order and I haven't in over a year. I've been meaning to order Jadu, the first book he did before he went and looked for the Yeti in Nepal.
Oh,
so I gotta grab that. I might as well just snag that now.
Just order it out. You can pause and go on your phone and order it off Amazon right now.
No, I don't pause anything, man. I just do it. I order more books when I'm talking to people than I like during recordings than I do when I'm not. It's crazy.
Well, because your brain's working, right? It's working on all this stuff and turning it up. That's my brain works the same way.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna grab it right now.
Would like clockwork elves, like Terrence McKenna's theories about like the entities you see in altered states of mind or consciousness, would those be considered like ultra terrestrials as well?
Yes and no,
so, to a degree.
So John Keel had this really fascinating concept that he called his window theory, I believe it was called. I might be off slightly on the exact terminology. But basically his basis of the belief behind the ultra terrestrial was that there's these parallel universes that sit close to each other, and they're basically giant bubbles. And when they come in contact with each other, they create a crossover of the two parallel universes, and that cryptids are creatures technically from this parallel world that come in through these windows, these cross sections between the parallel dimensions or parallel worlds, if you will. So he even went as far as to explain that local cryptids, like ones that you only find locked in by local lore, let's say like the Snallygaster of Frederick, Maryland, right? That's a perfect one. Or the Van Meter Visitor of Van Meter, Iowa. The Puerto Rican Chupacabra is another one, where the Puerto Rican Chupacabra is uniquely a reptilian alien-like build. But then in the southern United States, we have a four-legged quadrupedal canine, right, with mange. That's how, they both do the same thing. They're technically both bloodsuckers from livestock, but they're visually and anatomically different. he used that as an example of these parallel worlds, right? We both have a creature that fills the same role, but as they cross over, there's a pocket in Puerto Rico or a window in Puerto Rico that lets them cross over or be seen at times. That's more or less along the lines of his ultra terrestrial, and it's not exactly it because the ultra terrestrial sits above those pockets. And where I think like you're talking about like machine elves and stuff.
Yeah, entities that you see on psychedelics and things,
Potentially, I would love to see somebody do like a really deep research piece on John Keel's ultra terrestrials and how that might affect or how that relates to psychedelic beings. That would be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really interesting because even like we've talked about this before, Jeff. A lot of the beings that you see in the DMT realm. Not that I've ever done it, but I've read Terrence McKenna and I've read plenty of other pieces too. They have mantids, they have reptilians, they have creatures that look just like gray aliens, and John Keel even used talked about grays and other Nordic type humanoid alien beings as examples of these ultra terrestrials. And I'm actually jumping out of John Keel a little bit and talking about somebody else's research now, because then we get into the biological drones that the Greys could potentially be for a species such as the Nordics that have also been paralleled to things in the psychedelic realm. So I don't know. It maybe there could be a connection there. There could be, but I don't think anybody's ever drawn it before. And it'd be interesting to look into. Really, really interesting. Anyways, back to Jason. Sorry, man.
No, that's all right. That's it. That's super fascinating. It's super fascinating stuff.
No, we love to go down the side tangents here. Let's see, man. Well, you can't tell us what you're getting into. Not yet.
Not yet. Soon.
You got any projects that you can tell us about? What are you working on, man? Other than the super secret stuff.
Well, there's obviously the book is out. Tracking the Wendigo comes out October 26th. And then I am working on a Sasquatch documentary.
Ooh.
It'll be out by the end of the year. And we're just sort of it's just gone for scoring today. The cut was ready enough that my buddy Sean, who scored everything I've done, like We Want to Believe, right through Tracking the Wendigo and stuff, is working on the music for starting probably tomorrow. And it'll be out in time. I don't have the exact release date yet, but it's gonna be like mid-December.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's Sasquatch in British Columbia. So we follow a case on that, and then we go down to Harrison Hot Springs and talk to like Thomas Steenberg, Jerry Matthews, Bill Reed, Brad Trent, all like veteran people who worked with John Green and Renee DeHinden and all that, and cover some of the lore down there, and then come back up and conclude our investigation. It had some interesting stuff happen.
That's so cool, man.
That's as deep as I can go in talking about it.
Good enough, man. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
And then a bunch of stuff coming out in 2026 that I'm working on, which is I'm really excited about, and can start when I can start chatting about it. But it's something I've wanted to work on for a while, and I'm excited that I get the chance to. So
Skeeter asked, "Where can we see it?"
Well, the Sasquatch.
Yeah, anything.
Right now, like keep tabs on sort of Small Town Monsters YouTube channel. Oh. That's where the stuff will be coming out.
There you go. Yep. Is the Bigfoot project coming out through Small Town Monsters as well?
It will as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
I think this is the first time I've actually talked about it. So you're lucky.
Ooh,
congratulations. Look at that. In terms other than teasing it online, that actually mentioned that it's coming out at the end of the year on Small Town Monsters. So
sweet, man. Hopefully you're not going to get in trouble for that, are you?
No, I don't think so. I think it's fine.
Okay.
I can't say exactly when or what it's called or anything like that. So
cool, man.
And yeah, Kenzar, she says that Harrison is huge on the big feats, and it's like, yes, it is. And we actually go to the museum in the documentary, and everything like that. It was pretty wild. That became kind of our little jumping off point for what we did down there. But Harrison
Cool,
Hot Springs,
man.
if anyone here comes up to Canada and you're into Bigfoot, you have to go to Harrison Hot Springs. Like, you have to. Don't call it Bigfoot, call it Sasquatch. Bigfoot's the American name, Sasquatch is the Canadian name. And the Sasquatch name came out like quite a few decades before the Bigfoot name was coined. There you go.
There it is.
There it is.
Jeffrey, got anything for him, bud?
No, man. Good to see you.
to
Sorry
see
I
you
wasn't
too,
able to keep up with all this. It's not my realm, but
Oh, it's all good.
glad I was here for it. So we'll,
Yeah, no,
we'll
it's good
definitely
to have you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, we'll have to link up before another year goes by. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I'd be totally down for that.
When you could talk about more stuff, man.
Yeah, maybe we'll
Yeah,
talk about
I'll let you guys know right away.
Yeah, we'll talk
I
about
can't
the
talk about it.
DMT elves. That's what we'll talk about next time.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We should even do some DMT just in time.
Woo! Boss man parties, man. I like it.
Before I had kids and got married, yeah, and got too old to like never recover.
one of these days, man. I've never tried DMT, but that's something that I'd delve into it, man.
Just to have that experience, like, but to see the things that people are talking about, because is that the key to just altering your consciousness enough to seeing the things that are there all the time? That's where I get fascinated, just by that whole, like, with the Keel and ultra terrestrials, and just the whole concept that this stuff is always around us.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to change your like vibrational frequency to see it all. Like, I think that to me is just your mental state just slightly, and you just open that door. I think that's just a fascinating concept to me.
Yeah, me and Jeremy have talked about this before too, because it's from my perspective, people who have these types of sightings, they're usually it's like high anxiety or fear, or like these, these altered states when they have these interactions. So to me, it's not the same, but it's the same, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And people that and people that have these, they're just that little bit more open-minded, and that's all anything like DMT or any hallucinogen does. It just opens your mind more.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
there's so many like we could spend another hour just talking about some of the cool shit that comes with this. Like, I mean, I've heard some stuff that just absolutely blows my mind, especially when you get into like the medical science of it and everything. It's just it's on another level, man. It really is.
It is, and I think it's just tapping into that.
All right, Jason, that's all I got for you, bud.
That's all right. That was a lot of fun, as always, man.
Good.
Always.
Good. Try not to keep you too late. I know. Well, Jeff has to go night.
It's my bedtime always.
He's got fresh baked cookies sitting on his counter. You gotta go eat them.
That I do.
His lady spoils the shit out of him.
That's awesome. Good for you.
She brings him fresh baked treats and glasses of milk while he's recording.
Yeah, Jeremy will go on a rant, and I'll just like plate of fresh baked food.
That's awesome.
It's like, man, dude, seriously?
I'm jealous now.
It's crazy. But if you could just hang tight for a few minutes after we close out, that way I can make sure I got everything. And then I want to throw something at you, because I just do. Okay. But before we go, do you have anything else that you'd like to put out? Give people your socials, where they can contact you, all that good stuff.
Yeah. If people want, like, just come find me on Instagram at Jason Hewlett Official. I'm on Facebook as well. There's a few Jason Hewletts out there. I'm the guy holding the rifle. And if you want to reach out directly, you can just email me at jhewlett72@gmail.com. So JHEWLETT72@gmail.com.
Perfect. All right. And I'll tag you when the episode comes out, which will be tomorrow, because I'm gonna.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
While I watch Sunday Night Football. So.
There you go.
All right. Well, that has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. We do have another guest on the schedule next weekend. It is not the guy that blew us off 4 times in a row, but But we'll see. And if so, we'll be diving into 9/11 and some of the misconceptions behind that. All right. Well, until next time, travelers, this has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast with our guest, Jason Hewlett, old boss man from the Paranormal Network. Until next time, travelers, we'll see you in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye, everybody.
Adios.
Bye.